Well, here we go again. And not too much of a surprise really, but this door had to come off because it needs pins and bushings in the hinges. But anybody looking at one of these C3s, you can see somebody's done some handiwork up in here, patching, or I guess you could call it that. It looks like some sort of tire that's hardened up. These things are notorious for the windshield frame rotting out. Basically, the firewall and the windshield frame are enclosed in fiberglass, and what they do is they rot from the inside out, and this one's no different. Now, hard to believe, the bottom side of this thing is really nice, and usually they rot out over the back wheels. But this is typical, not a real surprise. I'm not digging into it because I just don't want to go there. But I will at least clean it up. And one of the other things I just wanted to show you since we're here is this was glued up into here to try and stop the wind noise. And what this is it's foam that when you're putting new windows in your house, you ram this in around the foam. Ram this in between the window and the framing. Acts as insulation. I also took some out of the bottom of that door a while ago too, so it's had some handiwork done on it, but that's life, get over it. So anyway, I will get these pins drove out, hinge and the bushings, and I'll show you what I'm up to. Chewed out all the goo. And it's surprising, it's actually in better shape than what I thought it was going to be. Kind of a nice surprise. Now, it's still a little crusty in spots, but I was expecting all this section to actually be gone. And it's pretty decent, so I just, I chewed off all that black snot, whatever it was, and got down into the glass. You know, there's some surface rust and some pitting up in here, but I can deal with that. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use fiberglass filler to fill this in, and then I'll finish it off with regular filler. And I'll take you over to the bench and I'll show you what I mean by fiberglass filler. My buddy with 31, I left him the last time with giving all the welds a skim with, like I said, fiberglass filler, and he says, oh, no problem, I got some right there. And so I grabbed it, and it's fiberglass reinforced body filler. Totally different thing. And this stuff, this is the only one that I know of that makes it, but it is actual fiberglass filler. And the only purpose you put it on for is to stop any moisture from being able to come through. And if you're using the fiberglass reinforced body filler, you might as well just use regular filler because water will come through it. And if you need fiberglass in your body filler, you got other issues anyway. So I'll get a skim of this on there. I'll get my fill coat onto it, clean it up, and bring it back for a look. After a skim of fiberglass and a skim of filler, it's all cleaned up. And the reason I spent the time to do that is because when the door closes, this is where the where is it? Right there is where the door seal closes against. So if you remember when I started this video, I pulled out a piece of insulation out of there. That should help as a wind noise problem. Hopefully makes it go away. So while I was waiting on filler to dry, I scuffed all the door jamb, cleaned it all up, ready to go. And if you remember way back, that's the alarm switch that I plugged. Gave it a scuff. I'll give it a little light coat of filler, clean that up, and it's pretty much ready for prime. So we'll see what happens with it the rest of the week. Back again. And I'm still playing with the door on the other side, but I wanted to start over here just to show this mark in the door right there. And I'll walk back over to the other side, but what that is from is the door overextending. So in other words, you know, the door is open, the wind catches the door, whatever it may be. And I'll throw a little light on here. Where it's hitting is right behind the S-bar. So on the GMs, it's not just these cars, it's pretty much anything with the long doors in a GM. If you carve out that bottom section of the hinge back in there to give it a relief, then when that door, if it swings past where it should, it won't put a scar in it. So anyway, as you can see, I've got the new bushings in, and I knew this door had to go up about 1/8 or a little better. It'd be really hard to see down in there, but of course when I took it apart, I'm right at the bottom of the slots with the bolts, so I had to reach down in and open up the slots. I think I got about 1/4 of an inch out of them. So I'll rehang this door. I'm going to hope to be able to drop the pins in it. We'll find out how that goes. Normally not well. And I'm sure there's going to be far too much swearing to put onto YouTube, so I'll bring you back once it's on. I have to say that's one of the easier doors, or the fastest doors that I've put on. I didn't get away with being able to drop the hinge pin down through the top one, so I did have to put it together and slide it into the door, but the bottom one I left, and I was able to drop the pin into it. Worked out good. And you see the masking tape in there. Before I even started hanging the door, is I added a 1/16 shim in behind this hinge, and I moved them both back a 1/16 or a little better, probably 3 of those little wee short lines on the measuring tape. And then once I had it hung, I closed it, and my gap was pretty close, except for I was just a little wide in the bottom. So what I did is I loosened the bottom one off totally, loosened 3 bolts in the top one, and give it the little tug, if you know what I mean. Tightened it back up. That gap I'm happy with. Looks good. I got a little bit of cleaning up at the top. It also helped this issue here. And that only leaves me with the gaps in the front, which I'll take care of next time. So till then, catch you later.